Hi everyone, my name is Tzu-Sheng. I am a PhD student at CMU HCAI. I am presenting our KAI 2024 paper on Wikibench, Community-Driven Data Curation for AI Evaluation on Wikipedia. This is a collaborative work with a wonderful team, including my advisors, Ken and Haiyi. Today, AI tools are increasingly deployed in community contexts. For example, AI-based content moderation tools have been deployed in online communities such as Wikipedia and Reddit. AI-based decision-making tools have also been adopted by local governments to allocate public resources. However, datasets used to evaluate AI are typically created by developers and data annotators outside a given community. This can cause problems because the ground truth of data labels on tasks such as content moderation can be highly community-specific. As a consequence, evaluating AI systems using datasets created by community outsiders can lead to misleading conclusions about AI performance. For example, past research has shown that crowdsourced datasets systematically label innocuous phrases in African American English as toxic. If these crowdsourced datasets were used to evaluate content moderation tools in a community that use African American English, they would underestimate how often the tools incorrectly flag innocuous phrases. Therefore, recent work has argued that HCI machine learning research should explore community-driven approaches to AI data curation. For example, in a position paper, Joe and Gabriel argued that AI datasets should draw lessons from archive and library studies, such as the Lesbian Herstory Archive and their Working Class Movement Library, where these community archives are often directly contributed and curated by the communities they are meant to represent, instead of by community outsiders. However, realizing the vision of community-driven AI data curation is challenging. For example, even though a community may share broad norms and values, individual community members may disagree about how specific data points should be labeled. Current crowdsourced datasets tend to handle the disagreements among data annotators after data have already been labeled by resorting to the majority vote. However, in community contexts, it is crucial that community members have opportunities to understand each other's perspective and collectively navigate disagreements for consensus building. It is also critical to provide communities with the agency to shape higher-level decisions around data curation beyond labeling individual data points. Finally, given that community members will generally have limited time and attention, it is important to support them in prioritizing their time and efforts. With these challenges in mind, in this paper we ask, how might we empower communities to curate evaluation datasets for AI that impact them? To answer this question, we present Wikibench, a system that enables communities to collaborate curate AI datasets while navigating ambiguities and disagreements through discussion. As shown in this figure, community members can use Wikibench to select data points, label data with their individual judgments, and discuss to decide upon a consensus label. We designed and tested Wikibench on Wikipedia. However, we envision that its overall design will be useful across a broad range of community platforms. Overall, this work demonstrates a community-driven approach to AI data curation and makes the following three contributions. First, we introduce Wikibench, the first system that supports community-driven curation of AI datasets. Second, we present findings from a field study on Wikipedia to understand how the Wikipedia community use this system in practice. Finally, we propose future direction for a system that aim to further advance community-driven data curation within and beyond the context of Wikipedia. Here's the outline for my presentation. After giving a brief introduction, we will now move on to the community context where we investigate our research question. We conducted our research in the context of Wikipedia for several reasons. First, Wikipedia has a rich history of grassroots engagement in AI design and evaluation. However, while Wikipedia community members are motivated to improve the AI tools they use and are impacted by, there is currently no infrastructure to support them in proactively curating datasets for AI evaluation and improvement. Therefore, our research focus is well aligned with existing interests and motivation among Wikipedia community members. In addition, Wikipedia's well-established norm for collaboration enable us to build upon these norms and bypass the need to introduce entirely new collaboration processes for data curation. Note that we work with the English Wikipedia community as a starting point because different language editions of Wikipedia have different norms. Here's a quick overview of Wikipedia for people who may not be familiar with its context. Each article on Wikipedia, such as this one about human-computer interaction, has an article page that anyone can edit. When edit conflicts arise, each article has an associated talk page for people to discuss its content. Since Wikipedia allows anyone to edit articles, bad actors can vandalize Wikipedia by making damaging edits with bad faith. As shown on this diff page, which displays an article before and after an edit, bad actors add irrelevant information to the article page about HCI. Since tons of edits are made to Wikipedia every day, AI tools are deployed on Wikipedia to help identify vandalism. In particular, a group of Wikipedia community members who self-identify as patrollers will monitor recent changes made to Wikipedia and use AI-based filters to review edits that may be vandalism. However, while Wikipedia heavily relies on these AI filters for content moderation, they currently have limited ways to evaluate these AI tools because of the lack of datasets that can be used for evaluation. To better understand Wikipedia community members' desires for community-driven AI evaluation, we conducted a formative study with them and derived the following for design requirements for a system aiming to support this process. These design requirements suggest that the data curation process should be led by the community, follow their established norm, encourage deliberation for consensus building, embed within existing workflows, and be transparent to community members. Now that we have a better understanding of the context, let's see how Wikibench works on Wikipedia. In the context of Wikipedia, each data point is an edit made to a Wikipedia article. Each edit has associated labels that specify whether the edit is considered to be damaging to an article and whether the edit is made in good or bad faith. Here's an overview of the data curation process supported by Wikibench. It mainly supports three actions. It enables community members to select data points, label data with their individual judgments, and discuss to decide upon a consensus label. Here's a more detailed workflow of Wikibench, which supports the three main actions through three interfaces. The first interface is Wikibench's plugin, which allows community members to select new data points during their regular activities on Wikipedia and label these data points within their workflow. Here's a screenshot of Wikibench's plugin embedded on Wikipedia's diff page, where Wikipedia patrollers are already reviewing edits. The plugin allows Wikipedia community members to label an edit, specify their confidence level, and add notes if they want to. This design embeds the data curation process into Wikipedia's existing workflow to reduce duplication of efforts and help curate up-to-date data. If the submitted label differs from the existing labels established through community consensus, the plugin will show the yellow message to encourage discussion. Otherwise, the green message will appear to minimize disruption. The second interface is Wikibench's entity page, which shows the label of each edit and facilitate discussion and relabeling as needed. Here's a screenshot of Wikibench's entity page for an edit. The diff slide shows the top half of an entity page, including an edit, its primary label established through community consensus, and a user's individual label. The right side shows the bottom half of an entity page, including the full set of individual labels from different community members and their notes. Similar to Wikipedia articles, the primary label is open to change by any members of the Wikipedia community rather than automatically decided by the majority of individual labels. If Wikipedia community members think a discussion could be helpful, each entity page has a corresponding talk page for this deliberation, similar to Wikipedia's established mechanism for article editing. Even if individual disagreements may still exist after discussion, each community member may agree to disagree through their individual labels. The third interface is Wikibench's campaign page, which allows community members to select data points already in the datasets for labeling and discussion, or discuss the overall data curation process. Here's a screenshot of Wikibench's campaign page. The section at the top shows the simple visualization to help the community track the data curation process. The section at the bottom includes a table that helps navigate the entire datasets. The buttons above the table allow community members to sort the table and identify data points that may benefit from additional labels or discussion. For example, the Build Consensus buttons surface data points that have high disagreements across community members' individual labels to promote discussion. In addition to the table, the campaign page serves as a living data sheet that provides comprehensive information about the data curation campaign, including the data statement. Similar to Wikipedia articles, the campaign page can be edited by any community members and has an associated top page for discussion. Back to this overview, we now have a better understanding of how Wikibench supports these three main actions. Finally, let's briefly talk about the study and the highlighted findings. We conducted a field study to understand how Wikipedia community members use Wikibench in the course of their regular activities on Wikipedia. The study started with an onboarding session, lasted for a week for the field study, and concluded with an exit interview. Besides the field study, we also conducted a validation study to understand whether the labels curated using Wikibench truly reflect community consensus. We summarize our study results in three categories. First, through quantitative analysis and the validation study, we find that datasets curated using Wikibench can effectively capture community consensus, disagreements, and collective uncertainty. Second, using the resulting datasets, we demonstrate how Wikibench datasets can help understand area of AI alignment and misalignment with community perspective. Finally, through qualitative analysis of the interviews and discussions on talk pages, we gain insight into the ways how Wikipedia community members collaborate using Wikibench. Given the time constraints, I'll briefly discuss two findings from the second and third categories and leave the remaining results in the paper. First, we show that the datasets curated using Wikibench can help the community understand the gaps between their collective values in AI models' predictions. For example, in this figure, each dot represents an edit in Wikibench datasets projected onto a 2D space and color-coded according to their primary label established through community consensus. The two lines are the decision boundary of the two AI models used on Wikipedia. These examples illustrate how Wikibench datasets could serve as a benchmark for evaluating different AI models. During exit interviews, participants share that Wikibench datasets allow them to easily compare what they believe versus what the AI believes, and find patterns of mistakes of AI models. Another interesting finding is that Wikibench provides community agency over the data curation process. For example, throughout the field study, participants collaboratively revised label definition to better capture emerging nuances and community norms. Here's a screenshot of the talk page associated with Wikibench's campaign page, where participants discuss and revise the label definition. Overall, this work demonstrates a community-driven approach to AI data curation and makes three major contributions, including the Wikibench system, findings from a field study, and suggestions for future research as described in the paper with more details. With that, I would like to wrap up the presentation. Please scan the QR code to read our paper. Thanks.